Have you ever been hurt by the betrayal of someone you trusted? Maybe a friend, a family member, or even a spouse turned others against you, and you found yourself feeling isolated, confused, and wondering, why is this happening to me? Has this ever affected your relationships, making it hard to trust people again? Have you ever found yourself asking, why is this narcissist in my life? What is God trying to teach me through this painful experience? The truth is, there's a powerful spiritual principle at work, one that many people overlook. What if I told you that God is not only aware of your situation, but is actively working behind the scenes for your good? In this story, we'll uncover 5 ways God acts when a narcissist turns people against you. We'll explore how he reveals the truth, breaks the enemy's hold, protects you, restores what was lost, and ultimately uses your story for his glory. If you're ready to find peace, healing, and divine wisdom in the midst of betrayal, then stay with me. And before we dive in, make sure to like this video and subscribe to hear more powerful insights from the sermons of C.S. Lewis. Now let's get started. 1. God reveals the true nature of a relationship. Sometimes, betrayal isn't the end of a relationship, it's the revelation of what it truly was all along. When a narcissist turns people against you, it exposes the hidden cracks in your connections. You begin to see who is truly for you and who is only there for their own gain. This moment of exposure is painful, but it is also a gift. Would you rather live in a comfortable illusion or stand in the truth that God is revealing to you? People long for real love, true friendships, and relationships built on trust. But when betrayal strikes, it shakes the foundation of everything we believed about certain people. We ask, did they ever care? Was I blind to the signs? It's in these moments that God steps in, not to hurt you, but to show you who belongs in your life and who doesn't. The enemy wants you to feel abandoned, but God is actually setting you free. Having the right mindset is crucial. If you see betrayal only as a loss, you will feel defeated. But if you see it as God's way of removing toxic influences, you will walk in freedom. This is why knowing and accepting God's revelation is important, because clinging to the wrong people can delay His blessings for you. So what should you do when people are acting the wrong way? When they spread lies, twist stories, and try to isolate you? Do not fight in the flesh, fight in the spirit. Instead of trying to defend yourself to those who won't listen, seek God's wisdom. Pray for discernment. Ask God to open your eyes, not just to who is against you, but to who is truly for you. Think about the story of Joseph. His own brothers betrayed him, selling him into slavery out of jealousy. He was falsely accused and imprisoned, yet through it all, God was revealing the true nature of his relationships. His brothers' betrayal? It wasn't just cruelty, it was God's way of removing him from people who didn't see his value. The positive side? Joseph was elevated to a position of power where he could fulfill God's plan for his life. The negative side? The betrayal hurt deeply, and he had to walk through years of suffering before he saw the full picture. What about you? Could it be that God is allowing this pain to protect you from people who were never meant to walk with you into your destiny? Do not give up. God has a plan to help you, because this was the enemy's plan all along. To keep you stuck in false relationships, to drain your energy, and to distract you from your true calling. But God is exposing the lies so you can walk in truth and freedom. C.S. Lewis once said, "Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny." Your pain is not pointless, it is preparation. So if you're feeling hurt and alone right now, take heart. God is doing something bigger than you can see, and this is just the first way He is working. Stay tuned for the next principle, and if this message spoke to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. The best is yet to come. 2. God breaks the narcissist's control over you. Have you ever felt trapped in a relationship where someone had an unhealthy amount of influence over you? Maybe it started with small manipulations, guilt trips, gaslighting, or subtle put-downs. Then, before you knew it, their words shaped how you saw yourself. Their opinions determined your decisions, and their approval dictated your worth. How does someone gain that much control over another person? And more importantly, how do you break free? People long for freedom. We all want to feel confident in who we are, to make choices without fear, and to live without walking on eggshells. But when a narcissist is in your life, they work hard to make you dependent on them. They want you to doubt yourself so that you rely on them instead of God. This is the enemy's plan, to keep you bound in fear, insecurity, and confusion. But here's the good news. God has a plan to break their control over you. Your mindset is everything. If you believe that you can never break free, then you won't. But if you recognize that God has already given you the power to overcome, you'll start walking in that freedom. Knowing this truth is vital, because until you realize you are already free in Christ, you will continue living as if you are still in chains. So what should you do when people are acting the wrong way? When they manipulate, deceive, or try to control you? Stop feeding their power. The narcissist thrives on your emotional reactions. They want you to defend yourself, to prove your worth to them, and to keep coming back for validation. But the moment you stop engaging in their toxic cycle, they lose their grip on you. Silence is powerful, distance is necessary, and prayer is your greatest weapon. Look at the story of Pharaoh and the Israelites. Pharaoh controlled God's people with oppression, threats, and fear. He wanted them to believe they could never leave Egypt, that they needed him. But God sent Moses to break the chains of slavery and lead them to freedom. The positive side? The Israelites were finally set free. The negative side? Many of them still carried a slave mindset, doubting God and longing for the comfort of their past bondage. Could it be that the real battle isn't just breaking free physically, but also breaking free mentally and spiritually? Don't give up. God is working to free you, because this was the enemy's plan all along, to keep you bound to toxic relationships, to make you question your worth, and to steal your identity. But the moment you align yourself with God's truth, the chains begin to break. C.S. Lewis once said, "You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream." Don't let someone else's manipulation hold you back from the life God has for you. This is just the second way God is working. Stay tuned for the next principle, and if this message spoke to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. God's plan for you is greater than any control the enemy tries to have over you. 3. God removes the narcissist's influence and protects you. Have you ever wondered why some people suddenly walk away from your life? Or why certain relationships, no matter how hard you try, just don't seem to work out? Sometimes, what feels like rejection is actually God's protection. What if the very person you're trying to hold on to is the one God is trying to remove? People want peace. They want to surround themselves with those who love them genuinely, support them, and bring out the best in them. But when a narcissist is in your life, they don't bring peace. They bring confusion, chaos, and emotional exhaustion. And that's exactly what the enemy wants, to keep you distracted, drained, and distant from God's plan. The right mindset is crucial. If you see someone's absence as a loss, you will chase after them. But if you see their removal as God's protection, you will trust Him. Knowing this truth is important because many times people fight for relationships that God is trying to free them from. So what should you do when people are acting the wrong way, when they manipulate, gossip, or try to turn others against you? Let God handle it. Stop trying to fix what He is trying to remove. Stop running after those who left. Stop justifying yourself to those who refuse to see the truth. Instead, pray for God's wisdom, focus on His promises, and allow Him to remove the people who don't belong in your future. Think about the story of David and King Saul. David was faithful, humble, and loyal, but Saul, driven by jealousy, sought to destroy him. David had multiple chances to fight back, to take revenge, but he didn't. He let God handle it. The positive side? David remained in God's favor and was eventually made king. The negative side? He had to endure years of being hunted, misunderstood, and betrayed. Could it be that the battle you're facing is not about proving yourself, but about trusting God to remove the wrong people from your life? Don't give up. God is working behind the scenes, because this was the enemy's plan all along. To surround you with the wrong voices, to keep you in toxic cycles, and to stop you from stepping into your destiny. But when God removes someone, it's always for your good. C.S. Lewis once said, There are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind. If God is asking you to let go, it's because He has something better. This is just the third way God is working. Stay tuned for the next principle, and if this message spoke to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. God's plan is greater than any attack of the enemy. 4. God restores what was lost. Have you ever looked at your life and thought, I've lost so much because of this person? Maybe it was your peace, your reputation, your friendships, or even years of your life. When a narcissist turns people against you, it can feel like they've stolen everything. But what if I told you that God is in the business of restoration? Could it be that what you thought was lost is actually being prepared for a comeback greater than you imagined? People want restoration. They want to see the things they've lost return to them, to regain their confidence, to heal from their wounds, and to walk in the blessings God has for them. But the enemy works hard to convince you that the damage is permanent. He wants you to believe that the betrayal was the end of your story, that you will never recover, and that the best days of your life are behind you. But that's a lie. God's plan has always been to restore you. Your mindset will determine how you experience this season. If you focus only on what was taken, you will live in bitterness. But if you focus on what God is rebuilding, you will walk in faith. Knowing this truth is crucial, because if you don't believe in God's power to restore, you might settle for less than what He has for you. So what should you do when people are acting the wrong way, when they take from you, betray you, and try to ruin your life? Trust that God sees it all, and He will bring restoration in His time. Instead of trying to reclaim what was lost in your own strength, surrender it to Him. Let Him restore what was broken in a way only He can. Think about the story of Job. He lost everything: his family, his wealth, his health. His friends turned against him, assuming he had done something wrong. But through it all, Job remained faithful, even when he didn't understand why it was happening. The positive side? God restored double what Job had lost. The negative side? He had to endure great suffering before the restoration came. Could it be that your current pain is setting the stage for a greater blessing? Don't give up. God is working to restore you because this was the enemy's plan all along, to take from you, to break you, and to make you believe that your story was over. But what the enemy stole, God will return in greater measure. C.S. Lewis once said, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending." God is not done writing your story. This is just the fourth way God is working. Stay tuned for the next principle, and if this message spoke to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. What's coming is better than what was lost. 5. God uses your story for His glory. Have you ever asked yourself, why did I have to go through this? Maybe the betrayal was so painful, the rejection so deep, that you wondered if there was any purpose in it at all. What if the very thing the enemy meant to destroy you is the same thing God will use to elevate you? People want purpose. They want to know that their pain wasn't for nothing, that their struggles have meaning, and that their story matters. But the enemy works hard to convince you otherwise. He wants you to believe that your suffering was pointless, that no one will ever understand, and that your story is one of defeat, not victory. But that's a lie. God's plan has always been to turn your pain into a testimony. Your mindset is the key to stepping into this purpose. If you see your past as a curse, you will live in shame. But if you see it as a testimony of God's grace, you will walk in power. Knowing this truth is vital, because many people stay stuck in their past, never realizing that their story could set others free. So what should you do when people are acting the wrong way? When they slander you, when they reject you, when they try to silence your voice? Speak anyway. Share your testimony. Let your story be a light to those still walking in darkness. The very thing you thought would destroy you might be the thing that brings someone else to Christ. Look at the story of Joseph. His own brothers betrayed him, sold him into slavery, and left him for dead. He was falsely accused, thrown into prison, and forgotten. But God had a greater plan. The positive side? Joseph became second in command of Egypt and saved countless lives, including the very brothers who betrayed him. The negative side? He had to endure years of suffering before he saw the fulfillment of God's promise. Could it be that your greatest pain is setting the stage for your greatest purpose? Don't give up. God is working to use your story because this was the enemy's plan all along, to silence you, to make you believe that your story was just one of suffering, and to stop you from using it for God's glory. But what the enemy meant for evil, God will turn for good. C.S. Lewis once said, "Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny." Your pain is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of something greater. This was the final way God is working. If this series has blessed you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your story is powerful, and God is not done with you yet. We've walked through 5 powerful ways God acts when a narcissist turns people against you. From revealing the true nature of relationships to breaking the narcissist's control, from removing their influence and protecting you to restoring what was lost, and finally, using your story for His glory. God has been at work in your life all along. Maybe right now, you still feel the sting of betrayal. Maybe you're still wrestling with why it all had to happen, but know this: nothing you've been through is wasted. Every tear, every trial, and every moment of suffering has been seen by God, and He is not just bringing you out, He's bringing you out stronger, wiser, and closer to Him. So what should you take away from this? Trust God's process. What looks like loss is often protection. Shift your mindset. Stop seeing yourself as a victim. God is writing a victorious testimony through you. Let go of the wrong people. If God is removing someone, don't fight to keep them. Stay in faith. Even when it feels like everything has been taken from you, God is the God of restoration. Use your story. Someone else needs to hear how you overcame. Could it be that this battle wasn't about breaking you, but about positioning you for something greater? C.S. Lewis once said, "There are things better ahead than any we leave behind." God is not done with your story. What He is preparing for you is greater than what you lost. If this message has encouraged you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your best days are still ahead. Keep trusting God.